Talk to Vlad.
Talk to Vlad.
Talk to Vlad. Talk to Vlad.
Talk to Vlad. Or secrets they will never tell.
Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Talk to Vlad, or Secrets They Will Never Tell. And today in my studio on this episode, I have a dear friend, meet and greet, Yana.
Hello, Vlad. nice to be in your show.
Nice having you here. Thank you very much for making it to my studio. It's been a long time since I planned this episode, and I'm really happy that you're finally here. We're gonna talk about most interesting things ever.
Thank you for having me here. It's a real pleasure, always a pleasure to be next to you and to have deep conversations, this time on camera.
So Yana is a life coach who is passionate about coffee. And Yana have one of the most interesting stories, how she shifted from the corporate world to the realms of mindfulness. She is also a founder of a project Being to Being and writer. Yana, I would like you to spare a few words about yourself.
Oh, few words.
Please.
I'm a talker, so few words is difficult, as you know. I am a life coach. I've been in mindfulness space for quite a long time. Yeah, it's been very fruitful. It's been exciting. I'm literally living in the flow and helping others to achieve that state of awareness and connection with themselves so they can really thrive in this world.
And on this episode, we are going to discuss what is duality, who is he, your inner child, how therapy is different from life coaching, and many other interesting things. Episode title, Self-Awareness, where to start. And to begin this episode, Yana, I would like to start by you telling us the story. What was your life before? Where are you now, mentally, physically, and elaborate on your journey.
Oh, my life before, it's like a past life. So I feel like I've lived few lives within one lifetime, and I'm really blessed with that. Talking about the corporate side of, like, I grew up in Estonia. Yeah, I studied law, I studied business. Obviously, I went into business world and corporate world. It's been amazing, yes, because I traveled the world, explored a range, a real range of that side. Until one moment, I thought that's the success. That's how it looks like. At some point, I remember when I moved to Dubai already 10 years ago. Time flies.
Time flies.
Yes. My life was pretty much, I was living out of the suitcase. So I was living in downtown of Dubai. I was traveling non-stop. So I would say I was traveling 20 days out of 30 a month on business trips. And I was traveling all over the world. It looked like this amazing, glamorous life.
But everything has its cost.
I was miserable. Deep down, I was miserable. I stopped sleeping because it was intense. I wasn't really sleeping. I wasn't really now I understand that I didn't have a purpose. So I was quite empty inside. So I was trying to fill that void by shopping and partying and alcohol and late nights and all this celebration of life to fill the void because there was no life. Of course, I didn't analyze it back then like I analyze it now. But I remember that for me, the tipping point was when I got sick. So I literally got sick and I had a back inflammation. That stopped me from traveling for a while. So I was stuck in Dubai and I was in pain and I had to do something. And the meds were making me really sick. I was really delusional. The drugs that they gave me really stopped me from functioning, just not living, just functioning. My solution was okay, analytical mind, what can we do? I heard yoga works for back pain. So I just researched the closest yoga studio. I just signed up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it started. But looking back, I can say that that's when it started because I'm a highly competitive person. So of course, when I joined the yoga studio, I had to be the best. I had to be the best on the mat. And I really started going regularly. I I was in this competitive mode. Like, come on, I can be the best. Like I can improve, I can advance, and I want to advance fast. Obviously, it meant like, because like all of the main classes of yogas, they were starting in the morning. That was really challenging for me. That was one of the biggest challenges, like I think on my mindfulness journey in general, just waking up on time, because I was a party person. I mean, everyone...
You would usually get home to the time, but by the time when the yoga classes started.
10 years ago in Dubai, every nightclub knew me. Every face control in town, they would know me. So I was that party girl. And here I am trying to make this yoga thing work. But since it was like still new and I was competitive, it's kind of like, and I saw the results. So slowly, I started like, okay, I stopped going out, in the middle of the week. I stopped drinking too much on Thursdays, to get to the class on Friday. And slowly, that was over a period of time. But like, it's not only, physical yoga thing, it's your whole world starts shifting. You just become more aware. The connection with the body is so important. And I keep on telling it to my clients, like every day, pretty much. Connection with the body is essential. There is no connection with the body. Like there is no mindfulness. There is no self-awareness. There is no self-growth going there. Connection with the body. And yoga, that's what helps you develop that connection with the body. Can be anything else, but like for me, it was yoga. And yoga is also more of a spiritual practice. So slowly, I stopped drinking that much. I wasn't partying that much. Of course, my closest circle has changed. People who saw me just as a party person, of course, they had no interest in me. So it was like there was quite a lonely period when it started shifting. And I remember I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I was working with my coach at that time. And I was saying, like, oh my God, what's happened? Like, I don't have friends anymore. And she was like, yeah, it's because like it will change. So the new friends will come, let it go. I remember it was quite scary because like I'm in another country. It's not my home. I'm in this new thing, exploring this world, and then everything kind of falls apart, but I feel good. So it feels good. My sleep has restored. I started eating more healthy and mindfully. Obviously, because when you go for this advanced yoga practice and you're so competitive about it, you have to watch what you eat because that affects how flexible and how light you are. So like I took it from a different angle, maybe not as healthy as it could be, but it worked. I went to India a few times for yoga to explore that further, to get certified as the yoga teacher. I stumbled there upon Yoga Nidra meditations. That's the yogic sleep, so to say, very deep meditation. I got that certificate as well because I realized how transformative it is for me. And this is where I first time experience, like all these past life experiences. I was like, oh, okay, that's possible. So that really opened up a new world for me. And of course, me being that in that new world, I couldn't anymore live in the old world, so the corporate world. And it was very challenging for me to kind of like sit on two chairs at the same time, be this mindfulness and aware and yada yada, and then go for that meaningless job, absolutely meaningless and extremely toxic workplace. So it happens that we parted ways. It wasn't a beautiful, I would love to say that it was my conscious decision, but it wasn't. It was quite ugly and a dramatic breakup, so to say. So I was out and I was thinking, what is it that I want to do next? And since I haven't yet figured that I want to be in the mindfulness space, because I still couldn't figure out it wasn't a job for me. It was more of a passion and I was there floating around. So I was thinking, from the perspective, a job. What can I do? I was like, oh, like, I would love to work in this fintech space, startup world, fintech. You know, like it was the buzzword like a few years back. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Zero experience, right? But I thought like, yeah, I literally, and I wrote down what is it that I want. And I was like, oh, I want ideally the company from UK, because I like to travel to UK on business trips. So yeah, that would be nice to have headquarters there. I would love, like, I'm really good in starting businesses. So I would love them to be in their beginners stage here in UAE, and I would love to be their first employee, kind of like building their business here. Yeah, I envisioned all that. I was like, oh, I want to work like there. There will be my office, you know, like with the view over downtown, like all the small things. So I was meditating on them. I was still a beginner in the meditation, but I was like really determined. Of course, I forgot about it after a while. So I dropped it. I got distracted. I was for a while into real estate world, you know, just exploring that area. And then I remember an old friend of mine, acquaintance, I would say, from Europe, he messaged me. He's like, are you still in Dubai? I'm like, yeah. He's like, listen, my partner is coming to Dubai for the first time. Can you meet him just for a coffee? Like, he might have some questions, you know, just like for a chat. I was like, yeah, sure. And the guy comes and we're meeting and we're having coffee, and he's a founder of a fintech startup from UK.
What a coincidence.
Didn't ring my bell then, strangely enough. We talk about business here, you know, like, and the banking experience, my banking experience as being from the side of the business, how frustrating is that, and like what's missing and so on. And he's telling me what they're creating. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a cool product. And I remember we were talking like really passionately about it. And at some point, it's like, sounds like there is a match here. And I was like, I haven't like even considered. So long story short, I got an offer in 2 days. So I was their first employee opening their business in Dubai, fintech startup headquarters in the UK. I got to travel on business trips to UK. So it ticked every single box. I had a corner office with the view of downtown. And yes, I was growing my team. It was such a beautiful experience that I really enjoyed. But, you know, I dived so deeply into it that I forgot myself. Like, I was so excited. I did manifest it, and it came through all these practices. Yes. So the pure manifestation, you know, 100%. I got so excited about it. I dove into the opportunity. And I completely forgot everything. You know, I started drinking alcohol again. I started smoking because it was so stressful, and everyone around me was smoking. Like, I haven't smoked for ages, you know. So I didn't have time for yoga. I stopped doing yoga. I'm always active physically. So yes, like gym and maybe some other exercises, but yoga left my life. I stopped meditating again. Forward 1 year, I was miserable. I was like, oh my God, how did I end up here? You know, like, it's like such a deja vu again, even though I was like so happy for this opportunity. And I thought that this is exactly what I wanted, but I was miserable. And I remember that I realized that when I went to travel in Europe, I was traveling and I was going through all these museums, and I used to paint. And I was like walking around, and I promised myself, I remember I was in Copenhagen, I was standing in front of a painting that I really liked. And I was like, when I come back, I will just work for another 6 months, just to get stable. And then I will leave that job and I will paint. Coming back to Dubai, what happens? Literally after 1 week, since I'm back, we're getting into argument with the founder, and I am offered a gardening leave, which is not on my contract. Gardening leave, so I'm fully paid for 6 months.
No way. You just wanted to live in 6 months and you're offered a garden leave in
It's 6 months.
Fully paid.
Fully paid. So 6 months, I'm not showing up at work, but I'm like...
Still paid.
I'm paid. And
it gives you an opportunity to come up with your next move and then the whole thing.
I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know either to cry or to laugh, because it's just so amazing how this universe works. I just set the intention. I was not attached to it at all. I did, and that shows that, you know, the ways in which universe works are way more creative that we can come up with. There is a contract, you know, there is an employment contract. Normally, you don't expect something on top of that, right? It must be crazy. Yet, I wanted 6 months, I got 6 months. So I started painting, of course. I kept my promise to myself. I started painting. I did my exhibition. I ticked that off. That was unfinished dream since like 20 years back. So I've done that. And I really, really went into spiritual journey. That's when I was like, that's it. I feel that because I can't repeat the pattern over and over again. I'm exhausted. I can't do this again.
So I know now you're quite a successful yoga nidra teacher.
Yes, that was accidental.
That was accidental.
It was just a beautiful experiment. I mean, honestly, because I was so into yoga nidra, especially after I came back from India. I was trying to find authentic yoga nidra. I couldn't. So I was trying to find it online, maybe some recordings, whatever. I couldn't.
So you decided to do yours.
Yeah, so I felt like, I mean, I'm a teacher, right? I can record for myself.
Right.
So I just recorded it. And my friends were asking for it because my friends, they love my voice messages when I send them. They're like, oh, your voice is so
we
good.
do. Confirm that.
You know, I was so shy of my voice for a long, long time. So it's still fresh for me. And I recorded a few sessions. And then someone told me like, I'll put it on the Insight Timer, and I put it on the Insight Timer. That's the meditation app.
I've tried your yoga meditations on Insight Timer, and it's fascinating.
Thank you. Yes. So, and it just went big, you know, so people started asking more and leaving comments and sending me really, really nice messages.
And was it the moment when you realized that you can actually help other people, and then this is how your life coaching journey begins?
Probably not yet, but those were the first steps, because it felt so good to help people. Because I'm getting messages from all over the world, and when people saying that I help them to overcome the depression, or I help them to cope with losing a job or a divorce, or chronic pain, or like whatever, like big things. Because for me, you know, it was just like, oh, I just want to like be calm and sleep well. And then I'm realizing that it actually has a real transformational power, and I can help people. And that felt so good that it's like, I think that was the first time when I felt purpose, purpose. Like, wow, I'm on purpose. I'm doing something purposeful. And that's why, you know, like, it's so important to have a purpose in life. And I always, with my clients, we always work on finding that one sentence that defines the purpose, because that's the anchor. When you're on purpose, everything feels better. When you're off purpose, that's when the dissonance comes. You're from the music background, resonance and dissonance. When you're on purpose, it's resonant. When you're not, it's dissonant. That's when you feel empty. That's when you feel frustrated. That's when you're just not fully happy. You're not really living. The life is not full of colors. So purpose, that's what drives us. And that's such a beautiful realization. And it's really beautiful to see when my clients find that purpose, everything just unfolds. So yeah, if you're watching it, find your purpose.
And how is the life coaching different from therapy?
So yeah, there is a lot of confusion on the market. In general, a lot of confusion with different modalities. To make it very clear, so the therapy, we work a lot with our past traumas. We dig what happened then, and then what, and so on and so on. Coaching, we rarely go there. We work with now and the future. Just here and now. What is here and now? I really, as a coach, as a person, I'm interested what happened in your childhood. As a coach, for me, it's irrelevant. I want to know where you are at.
And where are you heading?
Yes. And that really resonated with me. Like when I was, choosing, which modality I want to work with. So it resonated with me because it is so aligned with all the spiritual teachings. Being in the present moment. That's when and where transformation happens. Transformation doesn't happen in the past. Sure, if you have serious traumas, then therapy helps to work with them and to deal with them.
To find your comfort in the present moment.
So I'm not against therapy by any,
means.
By any means. Yes, therapy is a great tool. And I've been through therapy myself. I have explored all the different modalities out there, but I find coaching more purpose-driven. And it's really a key to that box with, all the best, things in your life. So that's really just unlocking. So coaching is unlocking that full potential. And what I also like is therapy normally sees you as a patient, and even their vocabulary is there is a doctor and a patient, right? It kind of inherently implies that something is wrong with you and you need fixing. While in coaching, we see our clients as naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. The answer is always in you. It's not me as a coach will tell you what to do or what do you need to fix or what is wrong. I will ask you questions and I will hold the space for you, and I will really tune into my intuition and help you unpack it. But I don't have my agenda here. I don't have an agenda to fix you. I don't have an agenda for you to achieve something. What I want you is just to unlock your full potential, and I will hold that space for you. I worked with both modalities, right? And I have experienced both modalities, and I can tell you that coaching is so much more powerful because it just unlocks, for me as a coach, it unlocks something absolutely unexpected. My clients come up with such a beautiful ideas or perspectives. I would never think of that, even though I might have more experience in that space, for example. And also, when you come up with it, you own it. That's yours.
It's a great feeling. Been there, done that. It is indeed a great feeling when you feel that you are a source of something.
Exactly.
And how many times I've been told a thing and I'd be very skeptical about it. But when the same words coming up from me, I'd be like, ooh, this is a genius idea.
Exactly. Because again, if we take all the spiritual, teachings, the wisdom is within. All the practices that out there, they all are about one thing: connecting with your inner wisdom. Because we have all the wisdom inside, and it's just unlocking it because it's been, layers and layers and layers and layers that we have developed over the time from the expectations, growing up, education, work, trying to fit in and all that nonsense. But the true source is here. We know. Deep down, we know. Everyone knows. We might be very, very disconnected from it. And coach just shows us the way back. And when I give it to you, it's like I'm handing you the key to your own source of wisdom. And it's yours forever.
We should start a session right now.
Yeah, because yes.
But before we will get to that, there are a few more questions I would like to ask you. So nowadays there are so many terms, so much information about therapy, about spirituality, about everything. And then there are particular terms that I would like to, let's say, unpack with you.
Sure.
So what is duality?
Duality. That's my baby. I love duality. So duality is basically the division, like black and white, good and bad. Yeah. Sure, the world is quite dualistic. We have the day and the night, we have polarities. But the key to this happiness and lightness and beautiful life, happy life, fulfilled life is non-duality. So dropping the duality, the concept of duality, in a sense, not dividing the world into black and white or good and bad. Nothing essentially is, because nothing is essentially good or bad. You can take any example and you can look at it from one perspective from another.
It is just different, right?
It's just different. And it's all okay.
And what about the power of positive thinking? It's like strongly recommended nowadays. Everyone on every corner, all the people talk about is you have to stay positive. Do I have to stay positive all the time?
No.
That's what I thought.
And again, this is also the part of the duality teachings and it's been so distorted. So positive thinking, I don't like the term of positive thinking in general, because it implies that there is negative thinking.
Right.
And surely there is, we can be operating on the low vibrations or on the high vibrations. But it doesn't mean that this is positive and this is negative. When we're going into this positive thinking mindset, we become so rigid. So it's like, oh, no, I can't think about this. This is negative. And we essentially cut off, we numb half of the experience. Life becomes one color only. Do you like food that is only one flavor? Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that.
Exactly.
It has to be complexity.
That's the thing.
Balance.
So your range of emotions gives you the range of your experiences. You can experience life in all of its shapes and forms. When you drop this positive, negative, just drop it from the vocabulary. It can be a light emotion. It can be a heavy emotion. If you sit with a heavy emotion, instead of dismissing it, you just sit and watch it, you will see that it transforms and it becomes a light emotion. And it's so beautiful. And that's what meditation is all about. That's what we do in coaching. That's what we do in therapy. Whatever modality you take, it's just different mechanism, but it's still the same. You sit with this and then it transforms. And it's such a beautiful experience. When you start doing it more and more often, you see that nothing is only this or only this. It's always transforming. Emotion, energy in motion. Yes.
Energy in motion.
Yeah.
Emotion. I never thought of that.
Moving.
Energy in motion. That is fascinating. I never thought of that.
So next time you experience an emotion, just think about it. It's an energy in motion. What is this energy?
It makes so much sense to me now.
Yeah. So and when you drop this positive, negative, all this duality thinking, life just gives you the range. And when you have the range, that's when you leave.
That's when you leave. Right on. And my next question will be, it's quite a popular topic nowadays. Your inner child. Who is he? Why is he inner? Why is he child?
Well, the inner child it's us. That's the energy that we have within. And the inner child, everyone has an inner child, that playful, that aliveness, that energy that is driving there. Everyone has it. Some of our inner childs are wounded, which is again not bad or good. It's just a fact.
As it is, yeah.
It is life.
They always say, listen to your inner child. What do they mean?
So it's listen to your gut pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It is there. It's in your heart. It's this energy that, brings life in you. And we sometimes neglect it because, especially when we're adults, yeah? When we're children, we don't think about inner child.
No, all we wanted is just to have fun and meet friends and eat well and sleep well and play games.
Exactly.
And it was like our only desire, I would say. And just recently I've heard, it's an interesting fact, I also would like to share it with you, and you can tell me if that it is or, you have a different opinion on that. I've heard that we need to listen to our inner child just because inner child doesn't have ego as an ego. So he's not egoistic. He is just thinking of fun and such things. So it's like egoless.
I'm not a big fan of this demonization of ego.
Right.
Because without ego, we wouldn't be who we are. So
certainly
we need some sort of ego to be humans, to function, to walk and talk and think. So ego is good. Sometimes ego, of course, prevents us from living our full potential because ego has an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So ego has an agenda for us. So it doesn't allow us to really go in the flow and connect with the soul. And be free. Children, they don't have ego relatively to adults.
Formed ego. Probably they have ego. It's
they
just
have
not
ego, but not in the forms that we criticize.
Right.
Yeah. So that ego, what we all demonize now here. So, but your inner child can be a very different age.
Mm-hmm.
It can be 5 years old. Maybe it's 15 years old.
Can be teenager, yes.
Yeah, it can be a teenager throwing tantrums there. So maybe not that playful, but this is the part of you that you always forget. It's abandoned, and connecting with it gives us this strength, kind of like the inner strength. It gives us we are the parent to our own child. We are the parent to ourselves. We can give love to ourselves. It's essentially giving love to ourselves, but it's easier for us to imagine that there is a little child, just to connect to it.
Right.
Yeah.
It also makes sense though.
Yeah. So it's about self-love, because inner child is always in the area of self-love topics. And when we're working for traumas or when we're working with self-connection, so it's just easier to imagine that there is an inner child in you and we can give love to it, and then essentially we're giving love to ourselves. And when we give more and more love, so we kind of fill it up to the rim, we're good. Our inner child is happy, not throwing tantrums, not trying to bring any attention. So not ringing any bells that you're on the wrong path, because you're good. You just feel good. You're on purpose.
Oh, right. That makes lots of sense now. Okay. Thank you very much. And we mentioned that you're passionate to coffee. And that you are a founder of a project called Being to Being. Yeah. So I would like you to spare a few words. I know how talkative you are. It's definitely not going to be a few words. But anyways, let's spare a little bit time
on coffee.
On coffee.
Well, coffee for me is deeply spiritual drink. I'm a big advocate for plant medicine in general. And coffee for me is plant medicine, because when you really connect to the coffee, I'm of course obsessed with my brewing methods and my sourcing methods, and I know where I'm getting it from and what farmers, when you drink it mindfully, you feel it. You can feel the taste of the soil. You can almost
imagine regions, the climate that was growing
with people.
Up, terroir, and the whole thing.
In Yemen, when they harvest coffee in Yemen, they chant prayers.
Oh wow, I never knew that.
It's such a beautiful experience. And when I drink Yemeni coffee, I can feel it. I can feel that energy.
Wow.
Yes. And it's from different regions, it's different. So for me, coffee is really the spiritual drink. For me, coffee is a tool. It's a self-reflection tool, and I use it a lot in my work, in my coaching work, and in my mindfulness work, because I can see that coffee is very easy door. I can build the whole session just talking about how was your first cup of coffee this morning, and we can unpack from this. And this is a great tool also for everyone to reflect. When you're choosing your coffee, if you're like, I don't know, in some coffee place and you're ordering, because how I came to coffee, using it as a reflection tool. You know, I was once a year, I do this experiment when I take 1 week or 2 weeks approximately, when I experiment with everything, I disrupt my regime. So I eat things that I normally don't eat, go to jiu-jitsu instead of yoga, go to boxing, or I started experimenting and just playing around, seeing how it feels. I go to bed later, or I try to work out at night instead of the morning. Mm-hmm. So I just do everything opposite, just to see what is still serving me and what is not.
Oh, that's an interesting approach. So you can create a contrast and see what's the difference.
For me, yeah, it's like realignment space, when reassessment. When I see this works for me. Oh, but I haven't tried this. I haven't worked out in the evening, but apparently that I feel better. Hypothetically, not the case for me, but maybe and then I can fine tune for the next year. And maybe I will discover something new, some cool things, that I haven't tried before.
And meet new people.
That creates a lot of new energy. So I like to do it when I'm stuck in something, and I feel that I need to
when you feel
shuffle this whole energy field. And I remember that
I like it.
Yeah, it's a great practice. So really recommend. So easy.
Duly noted.
And so a couple years back when I was doing this, I remember that I was in a coffee place, and I was ordering coffee.
Speaking of a coffee places, just a second. What is the trend about new mega minimalistic coffee shops? Why are they so concrete?
Oh, it's this is the trend of the specialty coffee. So the so-called third wave of the coffee industry. They are so minimalistic, and you will also see that there's no hot food there, no smelly food.
Right.
They can serve you some cold sandwiches, maybe at the best, or something cold. They rarely sell any hot food. It's for that nothing distracts you from coffee.
So you can be fully focused on the present of you and your cup of coffee, and that's it.
Yes.
Because I was always wondering, because some coffee shops are incredibly cozy, and in these coffee shops, I would usually order something foamy, something sweet, something milky, something creamy, spicy, I don't know, pumpkin latte, or different coffees in the coffee shops, in the cozy coffee shops, with lots of poofs and decor, pictures around.
Yeah.
And I've noticed never go there really, but maybe. But I've noticed when I go to these minimalistic places, I would definitely go for some V60, brewed coffee, grounded, and the whole thing, and have a seat, and I would enjoy. And definitely it creates a space in my head, for thinking. I'm here not to relax, I'm here to focus on something. I found that works for me. I just never knew why some coffee shops are so different amongst each other. I mean, obviously, it's preferences, but now that actually makes sense.
There were 2 waves of coffee. There were 3 waves of coffee, but one is already gone. Second wave was when the Starbucks came, and that's about creating the social place where you can hang out, and that's about all this milk-based drinks normally. So it's
creamy, sweetie,
not that
spicy.
much about coffee. It's just more about the ambience. And then there is the third wave, and that's the trend of the specialty coffee places. They stripped off everything. You're not supposed to be comfortable there.
You're not supposed to.
That also went to another extreme. So I would expect the fourth wave coming,
inviting.
Which will be somewhere in the middle, because you're not supposed the specialty coffee industry is very, very snobbish about its product. So you're not supposed to be comfortable there, or you're not supposed to work there. You're not supposed to,
Spend long time.
You come there to
for coffee, particularly.
worship
For
coffee.
worship. Right on.
That's the place of worship.
Good to know.
Yes.
And
So-
now moving on to your project.
Yes. So
Bean to Bean.
the project.
It's a great name.
Yeah. The project came from my passion for coffee. I was telling you this story. You interrupted me.
Did I? Right on.
Project came to me because of my passion for coffee. I was for a while in between these two, like, what is it? What do I do? Do I go for like all into coffee industry, or do I go into coaching industry? Because I was like, I love this both, but I can't decide. And then it hit me that, oh my God, coffee is such a mindful drink. It is such a great tool for self-reflection. It is incredible opening for a coaching session. And that's when I thought, like, let me try to combine it. The idea of bean to being was literally born like one evening. It just came to me. I'm like, bean to being, what a cool name. And it unpacked. And I was like, bean to being, sip, breathe, thrive. Yes. So it's about coffee, it's about mindfulness, and it is about coaching. I do sometimes coaching, like not formal, but sometimes I offer like a cup of coffee with me. That's one of the services that I offer, is that we can go to a coffee place. I can tell you about coffee.
I've been to a coffee place with you.
Yes.
I remember our first meeting. You spent like 20 minutes talking to a barista, trying to figure out where the coffee coming from, etc. And you remember they mentioned, we cannot disclose the brand of our coffee. And you were like, okay, just a few questions, and you already figured out where is this coffee coming from, who is the supplier. I was fascinated.
I know
I
them.
was like, oh.
I know them, yes. But like, yeah, so because a lot of people, they ask me about coffee naturally. Right. They're curious. And so it's like coffee and mindfulness. These are like two things that people are always asking me about. So sometimes I combine. So I have, it's one of my services is coffee with me. Coffee was the founder of Bean to Being. When we just go drink coffee, you get to ask me any questions, and we can work through your connection with self while drinking coffee. And you can also ask yourself. That's why I like to give this tool to my clients, because it's such an easy tool. When I do my coffee every morning, I grind and I pour, and I will always notice that okay, like right now, like today, this morning, it's like remarkably stable. The flow of the water is just like on point. What does it tell me? It tells me that I'm really calm, that I'm really centered, that I'm really good. The more mornings when I'm like all over and I don't know, like I'm not really watching the timer or something, I get easily distracted. Those moments, I'll be like, what's happening?
It's a ding dong for you too.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, what's happening? So I will make my coffee, and then I will sit down and I will think. I'm like, what bothers me? Why I'm not centered? What's happening? And it's amazing. Or I had one client, she was saying like, I have a difficulty of making decisions. It's just like freaks me out to make a decision. And I asked her like, how do you drink your coffee? She said like, I don't know, whatever is offered, like I don't have a preference. And I gave her a task for 2 weeks to choose consciously the coffee. I was like, just choose coffee. Just coffee. Just before you order coffee or someone offers you coffee, you think how you want your coffee. You want it with sugar, you want it black, you want cappuccino. What do you want now? And choose that.
And yeah.
And that was magical, because she said that, oh my God, I can make decisions. It's easy. So it's like training the muscle by choosing coffee.
That is
she
great.
learned how to make bigger choices slowly. But that gave her confidence that I can choose what I want
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis, yeah. So it's such a simple tool.
Fantastic. Thank you for the trick.
Yes. So,
Yeah, I will try that.
Yeah.
I'm usually very conscious about the coffee because I'm also myself a big coffee lover. Perhaps like my knowledge not as big as yours, but I've been learning,
Yeah.
recently studying. So yeah, I remember the story once. Me and my friend, we were degustating coffee, like, cupping different espressos from all around the world, different grind, different, temperature, different amount of water and the whole thing. And, like you usually spit in. So what happened is like some of the coffee we got to swallow. And after like 17 cups of espresso, Lisa, if you remember the story, you remember what we did after. We got so much energy that we went to the bus station, we sit in the bus because we didn't know where to go. We were like so hyped up, like
Yeah, of course.
And then we sit in the bus that we knew that is going in circles. So we're like, let's make a circle around the city. But by the time when we will make a circle, we're gonna feel a little bit better. we were riding this bus for maybe 1.5 hours, and what happened next is that at some point the bus stopped. It was like, the last station and the whole thing. We went out, and you know what we did? We went to a coffee shop and we ordered ourselves a real good cappuccino, just to calm down.
Down.
It was when we were young, we weren't like clearly new. We just wanted to experiment with coffee. It was the time when I just started learning about coffee, and it was interesting to see how the temperature affected, how the grind affected.
Yeah.
There's so many factors.
Exactly.
So
And like when you start experimenting, it's just never ending.
it just never ended.
And it's so reflective because you can play around and you discover, and it's just like this small thing. It's like your lab where you do your experiments, and then you can bring it out to your life. So you can expand, you can like try, what if I put a little bit of water, how does it affect the taste? And then you can see in your life, what if I will be lighter today, how it will change my day. You can really like just
you can play around,
copy paste
Right.
all of this, but be creative. And what I like about coffee, it allows you to be very creative, just like our life. So you can be creative in your life, and that's a beautiful mix. So yes, that's why like Being to Being, it's a very dear project to my heart because it blends everything. And I really do use coffee as a tool.
All right, and while we were talking about coffee, you mentioned 3 magical words. Sip, breathe, strive.
Yes. The book.
The book.
Yes. So the book is coming up. The book is going to be called Being to Being, Sip, Breathe, Thrive. I wanted to write a book. Of course, it's going to be about coffee and about our self-reconnection. Because what I see after, a couple of decades practicing all the various modalities out there, I see that it became so complicated, like overcomplicated and unnecessarily complicated. I understand it has to be commercialized and somehow the industry wants to earn money. And if it's simple, then you don't pay me money. So it has to be complicated. So you pay money for this new retreat or meditation or whatever. It is against my personal purpose. So my purpose is to bring clarity. And I want to simplify because nothing is more simple than a self-connection. I'm building it around coffee, just to give the story, the background story. But I see that the industry or like the world of self-development and self-awareness is very much aligned with the way coffee was developing, coffee industry. So I can see some similarities there, and I see a lot of connection, and I want to blend it all together, and I want to give very clear guidance on, so what do you do? I want to be so connected. Yeah? I want to be aware. I want to be mindful. Where do I start? I lay down all the basics from the connection with our body, all the basic things and essential things, to the duality and taking responsibility and all this non-attachment, more complicated things. And then like we slowly reach to that enlightenment. Yeah. So just to give a map, I feel that it is important because I feel that everyone, it is such a beautiful journey. It's so beautiful to be connected. And it doesn't matter. You can still be in the corporate world and be happy. If that's your purpose, it's fine. Everyone is different. So I'm not saying that everyone should like turn into yogis that meditate, but
Of course, it's
I
just
can
if you
see it.
feel like it, there are always ways how to do that. That was like most important lesson from today, I guess. And another most important lesson is that if you feel something's wrong, there are many ways to reflect to yourself and many ways where to start, how to go, and like where it's going to lead you eventually.
Yes, because the life will take its course. So
The life will take indeed.
one way or another, you'll be squeezed and pushed to where you have to go. But it can be painful and hurtful, or it can be a conscious, beautiful journey. And can be, like you can live life, like an average life, or it can be just wow, magnificent and fulfilled and beautiful. There is never a limit. Never a limit. So these limitless possibilities of really like full potential. And I can see this, I have clients 60 years old, 70 years old. They're retired and they come to me and they're like, I want to experience something wow. Like I'm ready for this new stage of my life and I want it to be awesome. And we work for that. And I see that like they still have like 20, 30 years maybe.
Absolutely.
of
They
life.
might be retired
So why-
from work, but not from
so
life.
why leave it like, an average? Especially if they lived all of their life as average.
Right.
And they're arriving, they're like, I feel there is more. And there is more. So that's what I want to gift to the world.
Such a beautiful mission. And thank you very much for sharing all your stories with us. You should be brave to tell the stories. And I'm grateful for you being here in the studio today and, educating our audience and sharing this experience with me. Thank you very much, Yana.
Thank you, Vlad. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be
Pleasure
in
is
your
all-
space. And
Pleasure is all mine.
it's incredible conversations
It
every
is
time.
indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Yana, I would like to thank you one more time for coming here and sharing your knowledge with me and my audience. Dear friends, should you have any questions to me, myself, or to Yana, please feel free to leave your comments down below. All the necessary links will be attached right under this video. And if any questions that you would like to ask, share it in your comments or send an email to host@talktovlad.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe and leave me a comment. And I will see you next Friday. Oh,